Sanders. So I'd expect Shedeur Sanders to play a lot of this game, if not all of it. We'll see how that ultimately plays out. But obviously, a big game, big focus, big spotlight on the quarterback out of Colorado.
TV ratings for that first preseason game that Shedeur lucked into playing because everybody else on the roster got hurt. You see the numbers? Biggest preseason TV ratings numbers in 10 years for that game because of Shedeur. He's got a following. I might be driving that bandwagon. I'm his biggest fan because I believe in Shedeur Sanders.
A rookie quarterback drafted in the 5th round, all the way down at pick number 144. A player many analysts claimed might not even get drafted. And yet, when Shedeur Sanders stepped onto the field in that first preseason game, something happened that nobody saw coming. If you love Shedeur Sanders, then smash that like button right now, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment saying SS 100%. Let's show the world how strong the Shedeur Army really is. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't just another football story. It's not just about Cleveland. It's not just about the Browns. This is about how one young quarterback, written off, doubted, and disrespected, broke through the walls of the NFL and shook the system to its core. The TV numbers came in, and they were staggering. That game delivered the biggest preseason TV ratings in 10 years. Let me repeat that. 10 years. A decade of preseason football, and not one game pulled more eyes, more attention, or more energy than the night Shedeur Sanders took his very first NFL snaps.
I would love to see Shedeur ball out tonight and then suddenly shoot up the depth chart and then be the guy that suddenly gets...
And let's be honest, that wasn't because of Joe Flacco. That wasn't because of Gabriel. That wasn't because of some random preseason drama. That was because of one man, Shedeur Sanders. Now pause and think about that. How many rookies move the needle like that? How many players can literally shift the NFL's attention on their first day in uniform? Trevor Lawrence didn't do that. Joe Burrow didn't do that. Not even Andrew Luck did that. But Shedeur Sanders, he did it without even being a first-round pick, without even being the so-called franchise guy. He did it as a rookie the league never wanted in the first place. And that's the part the NFL hates. Because make no mistake, the NFL tried to bury Shedeur Sanders. They tried to make him a cautionary tale. From the moment he declared for the draft, you could feel it. Scouts whispering about flaws, analysts mocking his confidence, reporters nitpicking every throw, every word, every move. They didn't just question his game, they questioned his character. Why? Because he and his father, Deion Sanders, refused to play by the old rules. They spoke with confidence. They spoke with swagger. They spoke like men who believed they belonged. And the league wasn't ready for that. The league doesn't like when new blood challenges the old order. So what happened? He slipped. First round, second round, third, fourth, teams passed over and over again. Finally, the Browns took him at 144. And even then, the pick wasn't about strategy. It wasn't about football. It was about one man. See, the Cleveland Browns were divided. General manager Andrew Berry and head coach Kevin Stefanski, they didn't want Shedeur. Their guy was Gabriel. They drafted him 50 spots higher, in the 3rd round. That was their plan. That was their quarterback. But Jimmy Haslam, he saw something different. Haslam had sat down with Shedeur and Deion before the draft. He saw the charisma. He saw the confidence. He saw the potential splash. And make no mistake, Haslam loves making a splash. This is the same man who gambled big on Deshaun Watson, who thrives on being the loudest voice in the room, who wants the Browns on every headline. So when Shedeur slipped all the way to round 5, Haslam couldn't resist. Against the wishes of his staff, against the whispers of the league, he said, take him. And just like that, Shedeur Sanders became a Cleveland Brown. But here's the cold truth. Being drafted doesn't mean being wanted. Stefanski didn't want him. The front office didn't want him. Even Gabriel's selection was proof they believed in somebody else. For Shedeur, Cleveland wasn't a welcome home. It was a battlefield. And that's why what happened in that first preseason game was so explosive. Because the fans voted. Not with ballots, not with signs, but with their televisions, with their attention, with their passion. They tuned in by the millions. They made Shedeur Sanders the biggest preseason draw in an entire decade. And in doing so, they sent the message to the NFL. You can doubt him, but we won't. You can bury him, but we'll dig him back up. You can underrate him, but we will elevate him. And that's when the story shifted. Because suddenly, Shedeur wasn't just a rookie quarterback fighting for a roster spot. He wasn't just the third-string arm behind Joe Flacco and Dillon Gabriel. Suddenly, he was the lightning rod, the center of attention, the man who made Cleveland matter again, even if just for one night. And let's be honest, that wasn't hype without substance. Shedeur Sanders has the tools. He has the arm. The critics say he doesn't. They say his deep ball isn't strong enough. But watch the tape. He throws with precision. He throws with confidence. He throws with the same surgical accuracy that made Tom Brady one of the greatest ever. On 3rd and 8, when the pocket collapses, when the defense tightens, when the moment demands perfection, Shedeur has that throw. And beyond the arm, beyond the mechanics, beyond the stats, Shedeur has something you can't measure: belief, mental toughness, a burning conviction that he was built for greatness. That isn't arrogance. That's destiny. Yes, sometimes it spills over. Yes, sometimes he carries himself like a superstar before he's earned it. But tell me, what great quarterback hasn't had that? Tom Brady had that edge. Peyton Manning had it. Patrick Mahomes carries it right now. You can't succeed in this league without believing you're the best. And Shedeur Sanders, he believes it with every fiber of his being. Cleveland's quarterback room is a powder keg. Flacco is 40 years old, a stopgap veteran. Gabriel is the coach's pet project, the guy they believe in because they picked him in round 3. And Shedeur, he's the outsider, the one who doesn't fit the plan, the one who wasn't supposed to be here. But how long do you think that lasts? How long before the Browns start losing games? How long before the season slips away? How long before fans get restless? Before media starts circling? Before Jimmy Haslam storms into the room demanding change? Because make no mistake, the Browns are not contenders. They have the worst Super Bowl odds in the entire NFL. They are a franchise staring at another year of frustration, another year of disappointment. And if they stumble to 0-3, 0-5, maybe even 0-9, do you really think Haslam will sit back and watch? No chance. He will make a move. And the biggest move he can make is Shedeur Sanders. Imagine it. The Browns spiral into chaos. Flacco can't deliver. Gabriel doesn't shine. The season is on the line. And then the crowd starts chanting. The cameras start flashing. The noise grows louder. We want Shedeur. We want Shedeur. And when that moment comes, Cleveland will have a choice. Stick with the plan or embrace the chaos. Stick with the safe bet or roll the dice on destiny. And here's the kicker. If Shedeur does get that chance, if he steps onto that field as the starter, this isn't just about Cleveland anymore. This is about the entire NFL. Because remember, the NFL tried to bury him. They tried to make him a cautionary tale. But if Shedeur shines, if Shedeur proves him wrong, it will be the ultimate rebuke. It will be proof that belief can't be buried. It will be proof that swagger can't be silenced. And that's why this story is so much bigger than just football. Shedeur Sanders isn't just playing for himself. He's playing for every player who was told to be humble, for every athlete who was told to wait their turn, for every kid who dared to believe in themselves when others laughed. That's why fans connect with him. That's why people tuned in. That's why he broke records. So what's next? If the Browns crash and burn, Shedeur's moment will come. Maybe late this season. Maybe next year under a new coaching staff. Because let's be real, Kevin Stefanski is on the hot seat. If the Browns flop, if they stumble through another year of mediocrity, house cleaning is inevitable. And a new staff might just look at Shedeur with fresh eyes, with open minds, with belief in what he could become. And here's the wild scenario. What if Shedeur not only gets his chance, but delivers? What if he takes the Browns, the very team that doubted him, and turns them into winners? What if the kid drafted 144th overall becomes the quarterback that Cleveland has been searching for all along? That's the kind of story that rewrites history. That's the kind of story that flips the NFL upside down. That's the kind of story that turns Shedeur Sanders from an underdog into a legend. And you can already feel the momentum building because the ratings don't lie. The fans don't lie. The hype doesn't lie. Something is happening here. Something the NFL can't stop. It's no longer just Shedeur Sanders versus Dillon Gabriel. It's not even Shedeur Sanders versus Joe Flacco. It's Shedeur Sanders versus the NFL itself. And trust me, the fans want to see that fight. So buckle up, because this story is just getting started.